Hello and welcome to Zentangle Method, a drawing activity. In this activity, we're going to be looking at 4 different patterns, 3 that are pretty easy and 1 that's pretty hard. For this, all you need is some paper, a pencil, and a marker. I highly recommend post-it notes for this activity, but if you have other paper, that's fine too. The first pattern we're going to do is this yarn-looking pattern. To me, it looks like balls of yarn, but it doesn't actually have to look like anything. So as we learned about Zentangle in the introduction video, we're just going to be making a pattern with lines. I'm going to start by making a border. I make 4 dots, 1 in each corner, and then I'm going to slowly connect the dots. Now I'm going to draw my pattern inside of that shape. I'm going to start by making some lines that go across that shape in the middle, my center space. And I'm going to pick a piece of line and I will draw around it on either side of it other lines that kind of echo that same shape. So if I have a straight line, my lines on either side of it will be a little curvy. And if I have a curvy line, well, I can make them more curvy. And I'm going to keep making that shape of those lines on either side of my original line until they expand out and take up, a good portion of my picture. And I'll start on another line. And I'm just going to fill in all my space. This one's going to go all the way. And I'm echoing this line now. There we go. And there's really no wrong way to do this. Any way you end up doing it is fine. It should make you feel a little bit calm and relieve some stress. I know it does for me. It brings my cortisol levels down. It's pretty nice. All right. So there you go. I finished mine up. I've got some yarn patterns here. You can make more if you want to, but I'm going to move on to a new one. This is called worms. I've heard them called wormholes or alien worms, all sorts of things. But worms is the part that sticks in my mind. So for this, we're going to be using a line that goes across our space. And we're going to be drawing dots on it and doing kind of that same echo technique. Just a little bit different. So I'm going to finish my border first. And then I'm going to draw a line that goes across my paper. You can see this one on my original one. Now I'm going to add dots along my line. And I'm going to do some echo lines around each segment of my line, or each piece of my line. So you see right there, I've got what looks kind of like a necklace. And now for each echo line, I'm going to add some more. Echo, echo, echo. All right, I'm going to go down my whole line this way. And the weirder your shapes are, that's fine. So I'm starting out pretty normal here, just kind of replicating or repeating that line again and again. But I wanted this one to get a little funky, so I let the shape get kind of weird while I was repeating it. And can make it look interesting. You can go off in different directions. You can keep one going the same direction. Just try not to go too fast. Take your time with it. Breathe some deep breaths while you're doing it. Yeah, a lot of people find this to be very relaxing. I think it's all right myself. Alright, now I've filled up my whole square with that electric worms or worm pattern. Let's move on to a new one. This one's called Plaid. And this one's one that you'll see a lot. It's actually pretty easy. So I make my border with my 4 dots. I connect the dots, make a square. And I'm going to start out just using vertical lines. And then coming back over it with some horizontal lines. Crisscross lines, crosshatch. And I'm going to pick some of the lines to be thick. So I'm going to make one line thicker, then I skip one, and then I make the next one thicker. And then I skip one and make the next one thicker. I'm going to do that again, going the other way. Just a little bit thicker. Alright. So that's Plaid, and you can play with that as much as you want. You can add more skinny lines or do how you want. But well, I'm going to move on to the woven pattern. Now, this one is the most difficult. If you want to try the easier ones, the first 3 are pretty easy. But this one definitely requires the most effort. So I'm going to start by making my border, as always. And I'll show you on my scratch paper here. I'm going to try a pattern that's 2 lines going vertically, 2 lines going horizontally. 2 vertical and 2 horizontal. It's just going to repeat that over and over again. And on the other side of it, or when I do my next line going down, I'm going to have the opposite lines meeting up. So vertical lines will be right next to horizontal lines, and horizontal lines will be right next to vertical lines. You'll see what I mean in just a second. So I'm going down my first side, vertical, horizontal, and I come on the other side, and right next to all my horizontal lines, I'll put a set of 2 vertical lines. And I come on top of that, and in between, I'll do my 2 horizontal lines. Horizontal, horizontal. There we go. And then I'm going to come again, do the same thing, but always matching up the opposite line pairs. So horizontal next to vertical, and vertical next to horizontal. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to stop saying it, because if you say it too many times, it just stops making sense. Alright, I'm going to finish it up here a little quicker. Hopefully you get the idea. You can stop and rewind the slow part if you need to. Next, I'm going to fill in these little squares that end up around the corners of my shapes. And that's going to make it look a little bit more realistic. And there we go. That's the woven pattern. Definitely the most difficult. But again, you don't have to do this one. You can try some of your own. You can make up your own. But I would like you to make at least 3 different patterns. Take a picture of your work and submit it in assignments. Well, that's all for now. Bye for now, and good luck.